Hello and welcome back to Brendan Moyer's Playwright Corner, where I read plays, poems, or whatever's currently striking my fancy at the moment. Today we're going to be reading another one of August Strindberg plays entitled Crime and Crime, a comedy in 4 acts written in 1899. The characters are Maurice, a playwright, Jeanne, his mistress, Marion, their daughter, aged 5, Emile, Jeanne's brother, a workman, Adolphe, an artist, Henriette, his mistress, Madame Catherine, proprietress of the creamerie, the abbe, a keeper in the cemetery, the woman in the cemetery, non-speaking, the commissaire, first detective, second detective, the head waiter, non-speaking, a waiter, a keeper in the Luxembourg Gardens, and a servant girl. The whole action of the play takes place in Paris in the 90s. Act 1. Scene 1. Scene: the upper end of the Cypress Avenue in the cemetery at Montparnasse. Seen in the background are burial chapels and stone crosses bearing the inscription O Crux, Ave Spes Unica. Also, the ivy-clad ruin of a windmill. A well-dressed woman in mourning is kneeling beside a flower-decked grave, murmuring prayers. Jeanne is walking to and fro, as if expecting somebody. Marion is playing with some withered flowers she has picked up from a rubbish heap on the path. The abbe is walking at the far end of the avenue, reading his breviary. The keeper enters. Keeper to Jeanne. Look here, this isn't a playground. Jeanne, meekly. I'm only waiting for someone who's bound to be here soon. That as it may be, but no one's allowed to take any flowers. Jeanne to Marion. Put the flowers down, dear. The abbe approaches and is saluted by the keeper. Abbe. But keeper, surely the child may play with these flowers, which have been thrown away. Keeper. The regulations forbid anyone to touch any flowers, even those that have been thrown away. They're supposed to be contagious, whether it's true or not. Abbe to Marion. In that case there is nothing for us to do but obey. What is your name, my little friend? Marion. I'm called Marion. Abbe. And what's your papa's name? Marion bites her fingers and does not answer. The keeper goes out. Abbe to Jeanne. Pardon my question, madam. I did not mean to intrude. I was simply talking to calm the little girl. Jeanne. I realized that at once, Reverend Father. And I was wishing you would say something to calm me too, for I am very troubled after waiting here for 2 whole hours. 2 hours? For him? How human beings can torture one another. Oh, Crux. Ave Spes Unica. Yes, what do they mean, those words which are written all over this place? Abbe. They mean, O Cross, our only hope. Is it our only one? Our only sure one. I shall believe that you are right, Father. May I ask why? You've already guessed. When a man keeps a woman and child waiting for 2 hours in the cemetery, the end is not far off. And when he does abandon you, what then? The river. Oh, no. Yes. Marion. I want to go home, Mama. I'm hungry. Be patient just a little longer, my darling, and then we will go. Woe upon them who call evil good and good evil. Jeanne. What is that woman doing at that grave? She appears to be talking to the dead. But can you do that? She seems to be able to. Jeanne. Won't there be an end to the misery even when this is over? Abbe. Do you not know that? Where can you find out? Next time you feel you need some enlightenment on this well-known question, come and find me in the chapel of Our Lady in the Church of Saint-Germain. Looking off. Here comes surely the one you were expecting. Jeanne, embarrassed. It's not him. But I know this one too. Abbe to Marion. Goodbye, little Marion. May God keep you. To Jeanne. In Saint-Germain-des-Prés. Exit the abbe. Enter Emile. Emile. Why, sister, what are you doing here? Waiting for Maurice. And you'll have to wait a long time, for I saw him lunching on the boulevard with some friends an hour ago. How's dear little Marion? Kisses the child. Jeanne. Were there women with him? Yes, of course. But that doesn't mean anything. He writes plays and his new one's opening tonight. They were probably just some of his actresses. Did he recognize you? No. He doesn't know who I am, and there's no reason why he should. I know my place as a workman, and I don't want any favors from those above me. But suppose he leaves us high and dry. Now, look, when that happens, it will be time enough for me to introduce myself. But surely you don't expect anything of the kind, because he really thinks the world of you. And above all, he is set on the child. Jeanne. I don't know. I just feel something frightful is going to happen to me. Emile. Has he promised to marry you? No, he hasn't promised. But he's led me to hope. Hope, eh? Don't you remember what I said to you at the start? Don't hope. For those on top don't marry beneath them. But it does happen. Of course it does. But would you be happy in his set? I bet you wouldn't. You wouldn't even understand what they were talking about. I eat there sometimes, in the kitchen at the place he has his meals, and I can't make out a word they say. Really? You eat there? Yes, in the kitchen. To think he's never invited me there. You can give him credit for that. It shows he has some respect for Marion's mother. For the ladies who go there are, a queer lot. Oh. But Maurice doesn't bother with the ladies. No, there's something straight about that chap. I think so too. But when a woman comes along, men lose their heads. Emile, smiling. You're telling me. But listen, are you short of money? No, not that. Then all's well so far. Look, over there down the avenue. There he comes. And I'll be on my way. Is he coming? Yes, it is him. Emile, going. Now don't drive him crazy with your jealousy, Jeanne. Of course I won't. Exit Emile. Enter Maurice. Marion runs up to him and he catches her up in his arms. Marion. Papa! Papa! Maurice. My pet, my darling. Turning to Jeanne. Jeanne, can you forgive me for keeping you waiting so long? Can you? Of course I can. But say it so that I can hear that you forgive me. Come here and I'll whisper it to you. Maurice comes close to her. Jeanne kisses him on the cheek. I didn't hear. Jeanne kisses him on the mouth. I heard then. Well, I suppose you know this is the day on which my fate will be decided. My play is to be presented and has every chance of success. Or failure. I'll pray for you. Then you'll have a success. Thank you. Even if that doesn't help, it can't do any harm. Look down there in the valley. In the sun haze. There lies Paris. Today Paris doesn't know who Maurice is. But within 24 hours it will know. The cloud of smoke which has hidden me for 30 years will disperse as I blow upon it, and I shall be seen. I shall take shape and begin to be somebody. My enemies, that's to say, all those who wish they could do what I have done, will writhe with pain, and that will give me pleasure, to see them suffering what I have suffered. Don't talk like that, don't. But that's how it is. Yes, but don't talk about it. And then? Then we'll be in clover, and you and Marion will bear the name I have made famous. You do love me, then? I love you both, one as much as the other. Or Marion even a little bit more. I'm glad of that, for you may tire of me, but not of her. Why, you don't trust my feelings for you. I don't know. I'm afraid of something terrible. You're tired and depressed by this long wait. Once more, please forgive me. But what have you to be afraid of? The unknown? That you can have a presentiment about without a real reason? Well, the only presentiment I have is success. And with real reasons. The sure instincts of theatre folk and their experience of the public, not to mention their personal acquaintance with the critics. So now you must be calm. I can't. Do you know, there was an abbot here just now who talked so kindly to us. You haven't wiped out my faith, but you have smeared over it like when you whitened windows, so I couldn't get at it. But this old man, he passed his hand over the chalk and the light came through, and you could see again that the family was at home inside. I shall pray for you this evening in Saint Germain. Maurice. Now it is I who am frightened. Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. God. What is that? Who is he? He who gave you joy to your youth and strength to your manhood. It is he who will support us in the terrors that lie ahead. What lies ahead? What do you know? Where have you learnt this? This that I don't know. I can't tell. I haven't dreamt anything, seen anything, heard anything, but during these 2 dreadful hours I have lived through such an eternity of pain that I am ready for the very worst. Marion. I want to go home now, Mama. I'm hungry. Maurice. You shall go home, my darling. Hugs her. Marion, whimpering. Oh, you hurt me, Papa. Jeanne. We must get home to dinner. So goodbye, Maurice. And good luck. Maurice to Marion. How could I hurt you? You know I only want to be kind to my little girl. Marion. Come home with us then if you're kind. Maurice to Jeanne. You know, when I hear the child talk like that, I feel I ought to do as she says. But then, reason and duty step in. Goodbye, little daughter. He kisses the child, who puts her arms round his neck. Jeanne. When do we meet again? Maurice. Tomorrow, my dear, we shall meet. And never more to part. Jeanne embraces him. Never more to part. She makes the sign of the cross on his forehead. May God keep you. Maurice, moved in spite of himself. My own beloved Jeanne. Jeanne and Marion move right. Maurice moves left. Both turn at the same moment and kiss hands to one another. Maurice, turning back. Jeanne, I'm ashamed of myself. I'm always forgetting you, and you are the last to remind me. Here is your ticket for tonight. Thank you, my dear, but you must be at your post alone. And I shall be at mine. With Marion. Maurice. Your wisdom is as great as your goodness of heart. No other woman would sacrifice a pleasure in order to do her man a service. I need to be quite free tonight. And a man doesn't take his wife and children to the battlefield with him. This you understood. Maurice, don't think too highly of a simple woman like me. Then you won't have to lose your illusions. And now you will see I'm as forgetful as you were. Here is a tie and a pair of gloves I've bought you. I thought you might do me the honor of wearing them on your great day. Maurice, kissing her hand. Thank you, my love. And then, Maurice, don't forget, as you so often do, to go to the barber. I want you to look handsome, so that others will like you too. You aren't jealous at all, are you? Don't use that word. It rouses bad thoughts. Do you know? At this moment I could forgo tonight's victory. Yes, it will be a victory. Hush, 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 and come home with you. But you mustn't. Go. Your fate is waiting for you. Goodbye, then. And let come what may. Exit Maurice. Jeanne, alone with Marion. O crux, ave spes unica. Scene 2. Scene. The cremerie. The same afternoon. Right, a buffet in which stands an aquarium containing goldfish, a palm, vegetables, fruits, preserves, etc. Back, a door to the kitchen, where workers are gathered, with a further door to the garden. Left, a raised counter and shelves holding many kinds of bottles. Down right, one long marble-topped table against the wall, and another parallel with it, nearer in. Wicker chairs stand beside the tables, and the walls are covered with paintings. Madame Catherine is sitting at the counter. Maurice is leaning against the counter with his hat on, smoking a cigarette. Madame Catherine. So tonight the balloon goes up for you, Monsieur Maurice? Yes, tonight. Are you nervous? Cool as a cucumber. Well, I wish you luck. You deserve it, Monsieur Maurice, after fighting difficulties such as yours. Thank you, Madame Catherine. You've been very kind to me. Without your help by now, I'd be down and out. We won't talk about that now. Where I see hard work and the will to get on, I help. Though, mind you, I don't like to be exploited. Can we trust you to come back here when the play is over, and let us drink a glass of wine with you? Of course you can trust me. I've always given you my promise. Enter Henriette, right. Maurice turns, raises his hat, and gazes at Henriette, who regards him appraisingly. Henriette, to Madame Catherine. Isn't Monsieur Adolphe here? No, madame. But he will be here soon. Please take a seat. Thank you. But I would prefer to wait for him outside. Exit Henriette. Maurice. Who was that? That was Monsieur Adolphe's lady friend. Was that she? Haven't you ever seen her before? No. He's been hiding her from me, just as if he were afraid I would take her from him. Well, what do you think of her looks? Her looks? Let me see. I don't know. I didn't see her, for it was as if she had flown straight into my arms. She came so close that I had no view, and she left her impression on the air. I can still see her standing there. He goes towards the door, and mimes putting his arm round someone's waist. Mimes having pricked his finger. She is one of the kind that stings. Madame Catherine smiling. You and your ladies. You're crazy. Yes, I'm crazy. But I tell you what, Madame Catherine. I'm going to leave before she comes back. For if I don't, oh, she is a terrible woman. Are you scared? Yes. I'm scared for myself. And scared for some others. Well then, go. Listen. When she drifted out of that door, it made a little whirlwind which sucked me in too. You may laugh, but look at that palm on the buffet is still trembling. She is a devil of a woman. Well then, go, my dear man, before you're stark staring mad. I want to go, but I can't. Do you believe in destiny, Madame Catherine? No. I believe in the good God, who protects us from evil powers if we ask him nicely. So anyway, there are evil powers. Isn't it them I hear in the entrance now? It certainly is. She wrestles so much it's like the diaper tearing off a length of material. Go on. Get out through the kitchen. Maurice dashes to the kitchen door and collides with Emile coming out. Emile, 1,000 pardons, backs into the kitchen, shutting the door. Enter Adolphe, followed by Henriette. Adolphe. Why, there's Maurice. Good day to you. Let me introduce you, my dear friend, Mademoiselle Henriette, and my oldest and best friend, Monsieur Maurice. Maurice, bowing stiffly. Enchanted. Henriette. We've seen one another before. Adolphe. Really? But when, if I may ask? Maurice. Just now, in here. Adolphe. Oh, I see. Well, now, you mustn't go until we've had a talk. Madame Catherine signals to Maurice. Maurice. I only wish I had the time. Make time. We're not staying long. Henriette. I won't disturb you, if you gentlemen want to talk business. Maurice. Any business we have is too bad to talk about. Henriette. Then we'll talk about something else. She takes Maurice's hat and hangs it up. Be kind now, and let me make the acquaintance of the great author. Madame Catherine signals to Maurice, but he pays no attention. Adolphe. That's right, Henriette. You take him prisoner. They seat themselves at a table. Henriette to Maurice. You certainly have a good friend in Adolphe, Monsieur Maurice. He never talks about anything but you. So much so that I often feel quite put in the shade. I like that. I must tell you, Maurice, that Henriette doesn't give me a moment's peace about you. She has read everything you have ever written and is always wanting to know where you got this from and where that. She has asked me what you look like, how old you are, what you care about most. In a word, I've had you morning, noon, and night. We've been as good as living together, the three of us. Maurice to Henriette. Good gracious. Why didn't you come here and take a look at this prodigy? Then your curiosity would have been satisfied at once. Henriette. Adolf didn't want me to. Adolf looks embarrassed. Not that he was jealous, of course. Why should he be, when he knew my affections were otherwise engaged? Henriette. He may not have trusted the constancy of your affections. I don't see why not. I'm famous for my fidelity. Adolf. It wasn't that. Henriette, interrupting to Maurice. Perhaps because it's never been put to the test. Adolf. Oh, really, you know... Well, the world has never yet seen a faithful man. Maurice. Then it's going to see one. Henriette. Where? Here. Henriette laughs. Adolf. Well, that sounds... Henriette, interrupting and continuing to address herself to Maurice. Do you think I'd trust my dear Adolf for more than a month or so? Maurice. It's not my business to challenge your lack of confidence, but I'd go bail for Adolf's fidelity. You don't need to do that. My tongue just ran away with me, and I take it back. Not only so I don't feel less high-minded than you, but because it really is so. It's a bad habit of mine to only see the worst. But if I could be with you two for a while longer, I would grow good again in your company. Forgive me, Adolf. She lays her hand against his cheek. Adolf. You always talk so ill and behave so well. What you really think I don't know. Henriette. Who does know that? Maurice. If we had to answer for our thoughts, who would stand a chance? Do you have evil thoughts too? Yes, of course. Just as I do the cruelest things. In dreams. In dreams. Just think, No. I'm ashamed to talk about it. Maurice. Go on. Last night, I dreamt I was coolly dissecting the muscles of Adolf's chest. I'm a sculptor, you know. And he, who is always so sweet, made no resistance, but actually helped me over the difficulties, as he knows more anatomy than I do. Did he seem to be dead? No. He was alive. How horrible! How could you bear to do it? I didn't mind at all. That's what surprised me, because I'm pretty sensitive about other people's feelings. That's true, isn't it, Adolf? Adolf. Absolutely true. Especially where animals are concerned. Maurice. I, on the other hand, am rather indifferent to my own sufferings and those of others. Adolf. Now he's telling lies about himself. Isn't he, Madame Catherine? Monsieur Maurice is kind to the point of folly. Just think, he nearly called the police because I hadn't changed the goldfish's water. Those on the buffet table. Look at them. You'd think they could hear what I'm saying. Maurice. And here we sit, you see, whitewashing ourselves into angels when, by and large, any one of us is capable of committing some polite atrocity where glory, gold, or women are concerned. So, you are a sculptor, Mademoiselle Henriette? Henriette. Bit of a one. Good enough anyhow to do a bust. And to do one of you. That's been my dream for a long time. And I'm sure I could. Maurice. At your service. That dream at least can be realized at once. Henriette. But I don't want to visualize you until after tonight's success, when you first become what you really should be. How certain you are of my victory. Yes, it's written in your face that you're going to win this battle, and you must be feeling that yourself. Why so? Because I feel it. You know, I wasn't well this morning, but now I'm fine again. Adolf begins to look depressed. Maurice, embarrassed. Listen, I have one theater ticket left, but only one. It's at your disposal, Adolf. Thank you, old man, but I surrender it to Henriette. Henriette. Oh, but would that do? Adolf. Why not? And I never go to the theater anyway. I can't stand the heat. Henriette. But you will at least come and fetch me when the play is over. Adolf. If you insist. Or why not come back here with Maurice, where we all shall be waiting for him? Maurice, surely you can take the trouble to come and meet us. I want you to. I beg you to do so. Look here, if you don't want to wait outside the theatre, there's the Auberge des Atres. You can meet us there. Is that settled? Wait a bit. You have a way of settling things to suit yourself before one has time to consider. Maurice, what is there to consider? It's just a matter of escorting your lady or not. You never know what may come out of such a simple matter. I have a sense of foreboding. Henriette, tut. You can't be spooky in broad daylight. Whether he turns up or not, we can always come back here. Adolphe, well, anyway, I must leave you now. I have a model coming. Goodbye. Good luck, Maurice. Tomorrow you will have got there. Do you really have to go? Must. Maurice, goodbye then. See you later. Adolphe salutes Madame Catherine and goes out. Henriette, to think that we should meet at last. Do you find that so remarkable? It's as if we're meant to happen. Though Adolphe has done his best to prevent it. Has he? Surely you noticed that. I did notice. So why should you mention it? I had to. Well, I don't have to tell you that I meant to escape through the kitchen just now just to avoid meeting you, but was stopped by someone shutting the door in my face. Why talk about that now? Don't know. Madame Catherine upset a number of glasses and bottles. Don't upset yourself, Madame Catherine. There's no danger. Henriette, was that meant as a signal or a warning? Probably both. Am I a locomotive that needs a signalman and switchman? That's the most dangerous part, is the switchover. How wicked you could be. Madame Catherine, Monsieur Maurice is not wicked at all. Up to now, nobody could have been kinder or more loyal to those who belong to him. Or those he's under an obligation to. Hush, hush, hush. Henriette to Maurice. How that old woman pokes her nose in. We can go over to the boulevard if you like. Henriette, by all means. This is no place for me. I feel hatred clawing at me. Henriette goes out. Maurice begins to follow her. Maurice. Goodbye, Madame Catherine. One moment. May I say a word, Monsieur Maurice? What is it? Don't do it. Don't do it. What? Don't do it. Have no fear. This lady is not my kind. She just interests me. Scarcely even that. Don't trust yourself. Yes, I do trust myself. Goodbye. Maurice goes out.